It was the kind of morning that Sergeant Lucas Reynolds had grown used to during his deployment in Eastern Europe, cold, quiet, and filled with the eerie stillness of the forest. The crisp air was sharp in his lungs as he walked his usual patrol route, the crunch of leaves under his boots the only sound breaking the silence. But this particular day would be anything but ordinary. As Lucas approached a clearing, he heard it, a sound so faint that at first he thought he imagined it. It was a low, mournful cry, almost like a wounded animal. His training kicked in, and he crouched low, gripping his rifle, scanning the dense thickets ahead. The cry came again, this time louder and more urgent. Slowly he advanced toward the source, and then, through the underbrush, he saw it. A massive brown bear, towering even in its hunched posture, emerged into the clearing. Lucas froze. His heart pounded as he raised his rifle instinctively. The bear locked eyes with him, and for a moment the world seemed to hold its breath. But instead of charging or roaring, the bear did something that left Lucas stunned. It lowered its head, whimpered, and held up its front paw, which was caught in a rusted metal trap. Lucas's grip on his weapon slackened. This wasn't an aggressive beast, it was a creature in pain, pleading for help. His military instincts warred with his humanity. Approaching a wounded bear was tantamount to suicide, but something in the animal's eyes spoke to him. They weren't the eyes of a wild predator, they were the eyes of a creature desperate for relief. "Stay calm, big guy," Lucas muttered to himself as he set his rifle down. Slowly he pulled out his wire cutters, his every movement deliberate. He stepped closer, the bear watching him but not moving. When he was finally within reach, Lucas knelt beside the massive animal. The trap was a cruel, jagged device, its rusted edges biting deep into the bear's flesh. Blood oozed from the wound, staining its fur. Lucas spoke softly as he worked, his voice steady and soothing. "I'm here to help, just hold still." The bear let out a low growl as Lucas gripped the trap, but it didn't lash out. With careful precision, he began to cut through the rusted metal. The first clip sent a shiver through the bear, and Lucas froze, but the animal remained still, its breathing heavy and labored. After what felt like an eternity, the trap finally snapped open. The bear pulled its paw free and limped a few steps back, licking the wound. Lucas sat back on his heels, his hands trembling. He half expected the bear to charge, but instead it turned and looked at him, its eyes filled with something that almost seemed like gratitude. The bear disappeared into the woods, and Lucas thought that was the end of it. But fate had other plans. A week later, during his morning patrol, Lucas noticed something moving in the distance. It was the bear. It stood at the edge of the clearing, watching him. At first he thought it was a coincidence, but the bear began to follow him, always keeping a safe distance. Days turned into weeks, and the bear became a familiar sight on Lucas's patrols. The other soldiers joked about Lucas having a guardian bear, but Lucas felt something deeper. This wasn't just an animal, it was a silent companion, a testament to the bond that can form between man and beast. One fateful evening, as Lucas and his squad patrolled the forest, they stumbled into a dangerous situation. A pack of wolves, their eyes glowing in the fading light, surrounded them. The wolves snarled, their teeth bared, ready to attack. Lucas and his men raised their weapons, but they were outnumbered. And then a thunderous roar shook the trees. The bear burst from the underbrush, charging at the wolves with a ferocity that left everyone stunned. The wolves scattered, their snarls turning to yelps as they fled into the shadows. The bear stood in the clearing, its massive frame a shield between the soldiers and the retreating predators. Lucas couldn't believe what he was seeing. The very animal he had saved had now saved him and his men. As the bear turned to leave, it paused, looking back at Lucas one last time. In that moment, Lucas felt an overwhelming sense of awe and gratitude. The story of Lucas and the bear quickly spread, becoming a legend among the locals and soldiers alike. To this day, Lucas believes that their meeting was no coincidence. He often reflects on that day in the forest, saying, "Kindness knows no bounds, not even the boundaries of species. Sometimes the help you give comes back to you in ways you'd never imagine." And the bear? It still roams those woods, a silent guardian, a living reminder of the bond between man and nature.